So basically, the story of Two Little Words is you might know that I do the radio jingles for the Grant Goldman Breakfast Show on 2SM and right across the Super Radio Network. It comes up as far as Gympie. Weekdays, so every half hour you hear my jingles there. Now, Grant's a mate of mine. He married a younger woman a few years ago, and they got pregnant. And so, but she delivered at 24 weeks,
Whoa.
which is incredibly premature. And it was the poor kid was just so unwell. The doctors even said to them, just let her go. She's too small. She's too small. And they didn't. They persisted. And anyway, so 6 months later, she finally pulled through after so many operations and procedures and everything else. And as soon as she got better, they thought they were okay. We're cruising again. Grant came down with bowel cancer.
Oh.
So he's gone through chemotherapy, and so finally, 6 months later, he's come through all of that. And he said to me, I can remember him saying to me, he said, "George, that little girl saved my life. Watching what she went through, she saved my life." And I remember thinking to myself, and I said to him, so 2 lives were saved.
Yeah.
And that's basically, that's the thing. And so he had a little recording of his daughter, Alexandria, saying, "Hi, Daddy," in this little baby voice. And I incorporated that into the recording of the song. And that's where we got the word, basically the concept of 2 little words. Two little hands, 2 little feet, too little to survive. Just let her go, what do they know? I thank the Lord we tried. 'Cause every day she lights my way, she rescues me in turn. And I'm here to say 2 lives were saved with just 2 little words. Hi, Daddy. And some will try and criticize the reason that she's here, but love is wide, and she's all mine for the rest of all my years. Cause every day she lights my way, my soul's light as a bird. And she's all the world, she's Daddy's girl, just 2 little words. Hi, Daddy.
The fabulous George Sich there just before, live in the studio. And George is still with us. We're going to have a bit of a chat about his brand new album. And it's been nearly 12 months, I think, since George joined us here. He's up holidaying again in Noosa. Thanks for joining us, George.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Let me tell you, an absolute pleasure.
Mate, it's great to see another album out. How long did this take to get together?
Hang on, what decade is this? No, it's taken a couple of years, but I just wanted to get it right. I wanted to get all the musicians. This is, what would I say, probably about 3 or 4 years it's been in the pipeline. So there's a lot of great musicians on this, but it's a real album. I actually feel the way that it's been put together, it actually tells a story. The whole concept of musicians. This is really an ode to all the musicians that sort of travel the countryside, that they don't make a hell of a lot of money. It's a real gypsy kind of a lifestyle, and I really do admire these people. And some of them, I've worked with. I know them quite well. Some of them I've taught, guitar. They're out there. They're beating the bushes. They're beating the stages. They're selling records. They're doing it tough. It's a hard job. Basically, this album, Spade, the songs in this are essentially about them. And I guess we're going to play a certain song off there, but I guess the real song that really identifies the album, what the album means, right here.
Why that one?
Okay, that was a co-write with a session musician in Sydney, a guy called Glenn Bidmead, who's absolutely brilliant guitarist, one of these super guys, and he's always on tour. He was sent out to me by his manager to sort of write a country song. The instruction was something about being on the road. Trucks, roads, cars, something. That's country, right? Obviously, his manager didn't get it. Obviously, Glenn didn't quite get it. But anyway, Glenn started talking to me about being out on the road. Go out touring and head to all these remote places, towns you'd never ever heard of. And all he would do is just miss home. Get to a phone booth and he'd call his missus. And then finally he'd get back home. And once he got back home, all he could think about was getting back out on the road again.
Oh, wow.
And that's what that song is about. And that's probably the song that really defines what this album is about.
Well, you've taken us, because the song you just sung for us before is track number 7 on the George Sich album Spade, Two Little Words. Now, that is such a heart-feeling song. And I know it is a little bit different when you're sitting here listening to an artist singing it live in the studio or to yourself. It's quite personal and it's just goosebump material. And I'm hoping our listeners got that same feeling as well. But when you tell a story behind the song as well, sometimes that can mean so many different things. And I think that song itself is going to mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So congratulations on that one there. But where does this album take us? So we've got the feeling through here. Do we have a bit of partying in here? We're out on the roads now. Where does the album take us? Is there a journey that we go through? The
journey is basically, if you just sort of give me the track list here, there's a song in there called Boat on a River. And the real line that defines that song is, there's nowhere we need to be because, baby, it's just you and me. It's timeless. We don't have to be anywhere. We're on a boat or a river. I can't remember the last time I had that kind of a feeling where you don't have to be anywhere. You don't have to do anything. No one's waiting for you. There's no phone. There's no nothing.
Just drift in and out with a tide.
Drifting with a lazy tide, and that's a line in the song. Oh. And so from being absolutely carefree and being tied to your loved one, we come to a song called 10,000 Miles. And that's actually written with a guy called Mike Goldman, who's the guy from Big Brother. Mike is producing a show with the Dozzy Sisters. Now, he's pushing the show in Hollywood as we speak. And it's called 10,000 Miles to Nashville, because Brisbane to Nashville is 10,000 miles. Mm-hmm. And so this song is about them coming from a little town, dreaming of the big lights and everything else, and the next verse is about them being in the... So it's just the sacrifice of wanting to go and do that kind of thing. And then, of course, we get to Right Here, which is the song that we just talked about now, that when you're out on the road, all you want to do is be home. And when you're home, all you want to do is go back out again. And then there's a song called When I Fall. I read a book from Andy Summers, who was the guitar player from The Police. It was called One Train Later. Talked about, there was a line in there about when Roxanne came out, if you remember that Police song, Roxanne. When that came out, they finally made the big time. And in the book it says, and all that it cost them was 3 marriages.
Oh, ouch. Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah.
We're talking with George Sich at the moment, and he's at his second home, which is the sunny coast. He resides in Sydney on a regular basis, but just loves to get up here on the coast. And speaking of that, on the 30th of January, you've been added to the lineup of the Umundi Country Music Festival. Must be pretty exciting. And what sort of show can people expect from George Sich?
Well, I'm going to be doing basically an acoustic show, and I'm going to be basically the songs in the round kind of thing, and saying these are my songs, and telling you this is what the song is about. This is where it came from. This is who it was written about. That's where I live. That's what I really like to kind of do.
Well, we were going to play track number 5 off the album, If They Only Knew, but we're not going to do that now because I've changed my mind.
Because George is right here.
Well, because I'm allowed to do that because it's a woman's prerogative.
It's
to
an
change their
executive
mind.
decision. I like
well,
that.
that's right. See, so well, you are talking about right here, and I want to know the whole song about now. You've told us so much about it, so I want to hear more about it. George, thanks for joining us tonight. Here it is, George Sich, right here.